What's going on, everybody? This Afro Think Tank. Okay, so update on the Iran situation. I haven't talked about it in a while because nothing really was changing to talk about, but now we had some changes, so it's time to talk about it. Okay, so in a nutshell, there was supposed to be a peace deal, right? Allegedly. But the thing is, Israel does not want a peace deal. They don't want to stop the war, right? This war is a war brought on by Israel, forcing America to destabilize Iran so that Israel can continue to grab more and more territory so they can build greater Israel, which is they want to increase and expand the size of their country, right? And they want to take control of the Middle East, and they want to make sure that any powerful groups, any powerful governments are disrupted so that they can do this thing, right? And so a peace deal goes against what it is that Israel wants to do. And they know that right now, while they have Donald Trump in the office, the weak president, and they have all these weak senators and congressmen in office, this is a pristine opportunity. This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity for Israel to be able to wield the American government the way they have been wielding it to do all the nefarious things that Israel wants America to do in the Middle East on behalf of their failed state of Israel. So, of course, to sabotage the negotiations while the Iranian delegate was flying to Pakistan, Pakistanis are the ones who are the intermediary between America and Iran. While they were flying there, America decides to bomb Iran, which obviously would stop negotiations, would stop any treaties. America wants Iran to capitulate, right? So of course, this was an illegal war. This is white supremacists incarnate. This is the highest level, the highest action of white supremacy going on right now, is trying to tell another group of people what they can and cannot do as a sovereign nation, right? In order to benefit white supremacy, literally, right? Directly, right? So this illegal war started for nothing. Now, Iran has been able to hold on to this. It's like a 6-mile path, right? It doesn't matter how powerful you are. This is a 300 moment, all right? So basically, you're not in 300, right? The 300 Greeks were able, the 300 Spartans were able to hold back this 10,000 big, hard, just Persian army or whatever. In real life, it was more like 10,000 Greeks and like a couple thousand Spartans, and they held on to this little crevice, this little area that only so many people can pass through. So they just stuffed the middle until they died out. It was a stupid, unsuccessful mission that Hollywood hyped up. And the untouchables were Africans. They got their ass kicked by Africans. The goddamn Spartans and the Greeks got their ass kicked by the immortals, who are Africans. Those were the African mercenary warriors that were dominating all of Persia on behalf of the Persian king or emperor or whatnot. Those were black African warriors who beat the shit out of the Spartans, routed them, whooped their ass, and destroyed them. But of course, they made a heroic movie about it and made themselves white. But the Spartans weren't technically white. That's still cultural appropriation. White folks are not the Greeks. They're not the Romans. You guys are Anglo-Saxon barbarian savages. They named you that, barbarians. So the Romans named you guys barbarians to separate and delineate from you guys. All right. But other than that, these white folks, they believe that, only white people can be in charge. Only white people can have nuclear weapons, even though white people have shown they have been very irresponsible with those nuclear weapons, because only white people have irresponsibly detonated those weapons and caused mass destruction and chaos in the world. The Russians with Chernobyl on accident, and America dropping 2 nuclear bombs on Japan. Yet everybody else are the ones who are not supposed to have nuclear weapons. My ass, right? So right now, the only thing Iran can do, because all they can do is attack our base. They can't hit America. They're not a threat to America. They live in the area where they need to produce nuclear power in order to move and elevate their societies to the next level. America doesn't want that. America wants Iran to stay in a third world status or a subservient status. That is the whole point. Is very simple, right? But right now, Donald Trump, in his mismanagement of this whole situation, has put us in a quagmire, because we would be forced to go to total. In order for this to happen, we have to go total war, right? Now, is Iran really winning anything militarily? No. They can't. They have no chance. But they're not fighting us with their military. They're fighting us with economics, right? In that case, they can do it because they're making deals with other countries to replace what it is that they were doing with America, right? They are making money with other countries who don't want to be a part of this. Most countries don't want to be a part of this because they see this is absolutely wrong. Same thing we blame the Russians for doing to Ukraine, we're doing to Iran, right? And while we're talking about Iran, Israel, because nobody's putting any media coverage on it, is continuing to genocide the Palestinians without global condemnation, because we're paying attention to Iran and not the Palestinians. And while that's happening, Israel is also stealing land from Lebanon. So while everybody's paying attention with Donald Trump and his chaos with Iran, even though this is sponsored by and pushed by and being dragged on by Israel, Israel is simultaneously, while everybody's paying attention to Iran, stealing more land from Lebanon, taking more land from the West Bank, and committing genocide in the Palestinians. So yeah, this is peak white supremacy, right? But the thing is, it's embarrassing to America, even though it's beneficial to Israel. It's embarrassing to America, but keep in mind, Trump is a throwaway card. You see, once they got like 2 years or whatever, at least until the midterms, until the Democrats get in and they can stop a lot of this stuff. They have 2 years to get everything done they possibly can do. They're throwing everything they can at the wall. Everything they've been wanting to do for 70-something years, this is their short window of opportunity to get as much of it done, to the point that when another administration gets in, it's going to be hard to dislodge or stop or reverse a lot of the stuff that the people who are really in charge, that you can't see, who really want things to happen. The people who are wielding the puppets. Because Donald Trump's a puppet. He's not intellectually smart enough to do any of this shit he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's reacting. Someone comes in the room, tells him this is happening. He says, okay, let's do this. They give him a false sense of a choice. He makes a choice, right, that was curated for him. They go out and do what they want to do for the agenda of rich white people that you don't know, that wear yarmulkes on their hat but are not religious, right? And while he gets to paint buildings and build, new halls and put his name on shit, and he's satisfied as long as he gets to do those things. He sees that as an accomplishment, while the nefarious people who take advantage of his idiocracy, take care of their world agenda, their corporate dominance of a group of people they don't care about, in order to take resources in strategic locations for shipping routes. So that's what's going on, guys. It's not going to stop anytime until Donald Trump is gone, until we get in a president that will tell Israel to stop or at least cut off their funding. It's going to continue, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for white supremacy to do this. They have nothing to lose because white supremacy is dying, right? So this is like a last gasp. This is final push to grab some kind of resource, a final push to stop other groups of people from rising, other nations from rising. It's not going to work. Yes, they're going to hurt some people. They're going to kill some people. They're going to cause more atrocities. Many more people are going to die before this shit is over with. But in the long haul, white supremacy will lose, because it is losing right now. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comment sections. After Think Tank, learn something, teach something. I'm out.
The Israeli loophole is the next fight hiding inside the wording. A deal that binds America but lets Israel carry on hitting Iran and Iran's allies. That's not a ceasefire. That's outsourcing the bombing to the usual subcontractor and calling the paperwork diplomatic. Iranian reporting has pushed back on claims that Israel would be exempt from the commitments, because of course Trump tried that one, didn't he? Saying the draft would bind the United States and its allies not to attack Iran or its allies, while Iran and its allies would likewise not launch preemptive strikes. Now, if that wording survives, Israel doesn't get to become an exception or a side note. Israel is the actor being pulled into the constraint, and it has to be. It absolutely should be. Why the hell would that place be an exception? Netanyahu's problem then becomes a big one for him, though, because he can't claim victory over Iran either, while the deal he hates gives Hezbollah breathing room at the same time, leaves Iran's missile capacity untouched on top of that, and makes Lebanon part of the ceasefire demand requiring his forces to pull out and stop striking Lebanon. The war that was supposed to restore Israeli freedom of action instead puts Israeli action into the argument over the deal, but I'm sure he absolutely will just do as little Donnie tells him to, right? Trump's defenders will try to turn this into a win nevertheless, because they've got very little else left. They'll say he forced talks, he forced Iran to the table, he forced a deal. The Strait's opening because he held firm. But Trump was already the man who withdrew from the JCPOA in 2018, reimposed sanctions, pushed the nuclear issue back into crisis, and then moved through a war that has left Washington discussing blockade relief and assets with the country he was supposed to have boxed in.
Have you ever seen that video?
No.
Pull that video up, because it's one of my favorites. Just as a historic peace deal was 95% complete with Iran possibly joining the Abraham Accords, unfrozen billions, and sanctions relief, the U.S. began bombing Iran again. They set Karg Island, Iran's key oil export terminal, ablaze, destroyed boats laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, struck missile sites, and killed Revolutionary Guard members. Iran shot down American MQ-9 Reaper drones and fired back, yet both sides insist the ceasefire is still holding and peace talks continue. You ever had one of those friends who, no matter where they went, they were always getting in a fight and throwing haymakers? That's exactly how we feel right now about Iran, Israel, and America. It's like a couple lobbing every bomb possible right before signing the divorce papers, but swearing their marriage is fine. We want the greatest peace deal in history, not $200 oil and a global recession. So somebody calm the drunk friend down. No more fighting tonight. We need this peace bad.
It's now became obvious that it's the Israelis that are holding up the American-Iranian peace deal. Trump and the Iranians now both agree we need to talk about nuclear enrichment and the Strait of Hormuz. This initial deal they're about to sign has the Iranians open up the Strait of Hormuz and the Americans release $25 billion of frozen Iranian assets and give it to the Iranians. Essentially, both sides are giving something to show that they're ready to talk about the nuclear enrichment. And then at that point, they both acknowledge right now we're going to have disagreements, but as long as we get to that stage, we're going to avoid war, and the Israelis can't stand that. It's actually so bad now, the Americans have already accepted a ceasefire in Lebanon is going to be permanent. The Israelis are chiming in and going, actually, that's a big deal. We shouldn't let that be permanent. Now understand this, Netanyahu believes that bombing Lebanon is more important than getting a peace deal. Even if that involves Iran promising not to create a nuclear weapon, the Israelis say we still have to bomb Lebanon anyways, so if the Iranians don't agree, just go bomb Iran. And I mean that. It's that stupid right now, and that's what's holding everything back. Essentially, Trump can't believe it, and the Iranians are just waiting for Trump to say, yes, let's move forward.
Once again, Israel is sabotaging a peace deal that we knew was never going to happen to begin with. It's Sunday. You know, the markets are opening back up on Tuesday. There's a holiday tomorrow. You know, regardless, what they're trying to do is they're just trying to appease people, make them feel like we're headed somewhere. We're not. Israel's never going to let it happen because they're going to keep wedging themselves in. So Netanyahu posted this on X earlier today, and he stated, I spoke last night with President Trump about the memorandum of understanding to reopen the Straits of Hormuz and the upcoming negotiations towards a final agreement on Iran's nuclear program. Because there's a lot of talk now that we're inching near a deal, and of course that's freaking the Israelis out. He says, I express my deep appreciation to President Trump for his unwavering commitment to Israel's security, including during Operation Roaring Lion and Epic Fury, when American and Israeli forces fought shoulder to shoulder against the Iranian threat. President Trump and I agree that any final agreement with Iran must eliminate the nuclear danger. What's that mean? That means dismantling Iran's nuclear enrichment sites and removing its enriched nuclear material from its territory. So Netanyahu is imposing that requirement on the United States because, keep in mind, that was never a requirement from the Americans' ends. That's a new requirement that he's forcing us to accept. He's forcing us to accept that this uranium has to be taken out. President Trump also reaffirmed Israel's right to defend itself against threats on every front, including Lebanon. The partnership between us and our two countries has proven on the battlefield and has never been stronger. My policy, like President Trump's, remains unchanged. Iran will not have nuclear weapons. I mean, there's nothing more disastrous to peace than Israel's existence. Genuinely, there's nothing more disastrous to peace. So basically, every single thing that Netanyahu just stated is everything that Iran disagreed with and stated that they would not accept, and is everything that Trump is simply, claiming that has already been figured out and a peace deal is imminent. So that just goes to show this peace deal, it's not going anywhere. I truly don't believe it's going anywhere. If it does go somewhere, I will be pleasantly surprised. So, Donald Trump, The White House then goes on social media today. They've made a few statements, again, trying to make Americans believe that we're finally nearing a peace deal. The White House account on X posted this earlier today. First off, of course, they're trashing Barack Obama's peace deal. One of the worst deals ever made by our country was the Iran nuclear deal, put forth and signed into existence by Barack Hussein Obama and the ranks amateurs of the Obama administration. It was a direct path to Iran developing a nuclear weapon, which is why it's funny, because it seems like he would love to just go.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such an extent that you bleach? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.